We'll start the meeting off with a prayer and a pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you today seeking peace and prosperity for this city that we love. God, we thank you for all of the many blessings that you have bestowed upon us and our staff and members of the governing body and members of our community. You have given us so much and you have rewarded us so much this year. And in this time of giving and in celebration with our family and our friends, we look to you and we thank you for all of the great blessings that you've given us. In your name we pray. Amen. Okay, I need to add an agenda item. Agenda item H0, software purchase, Placer AI. Do I have a motion with that addition to the agenda?
Yeah, make a motion.
Motion by Aubrey.
Second.
Second by Keaton. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Citizen comments. Is there anybody from the audience that would like to speak? Going once? Going twice? Sold. Okay. Y'all are going to make my last meeting easy. Item E1.
Honorable Mayor and City Council, this is item E1. This is a Planning Commissioner's reappointment. So the Planning Commissioners operate on a 3-year term basis, with 1/3 of the Planning Commissioners being reappointed each year. The Mayor appoints the Commissioners to office, and they are confirmed by the governing body. Jamie Coyne was appointed around 2018. He has served several terms back to back. Their current term expires this year in December of 2023. Daniel Hayden was appointed in 2022 to replace Jody Denderon, whose term expires this year. They are requesting another 3-year term, which would expire in 2026. So Jamie Coyne and Daniel Hayden reside in the city limits per the charter of the city. Mayor Larkin makes the recommendations before the city council for the reappointment to another 3 years. So Planning Commission of Bylaws, Article 1 for officers. The commission shall organize annually at the first regular meeting after the annual appointment of new members, which is normally the first city council meeting in December. Commissioners are appointed by the mayor and confirmed by the city council for a term of 3 calendar years on a staggered basis, with approximately 1/3 of the commission reappointed each year. So if you reappoint them, they'll start the first year term in January of 2024. The second year would be 2025. Third year would be 2026, and then you'd have to reappoint them again in December of 2026. This is Jamie Coyne and Daniel Hayden. Financially and non-legally approved as a form. It is recommended that the City Council approve the Mayor's decision to renew the 3-year terms of Commissioner Coyne and Commissioner Hayden.
Make a motion to approve the mayor's decision to renew the 3-year terms of Commissioner Coyne and Commissioner Hayden.
Motion by Keaton.
A second.
Second by Aubrey. All in favor say aye.
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 Thank you very much. This is item E2, appointment to the Planning Commission. So the Planning Commission, once again, operates on a 3-year term basis, 1/3 of the Planning Commissioners being reappointed each year. The Mayor appoints the Commissioners to office, and they're confirmed by the governing body. Doug Hall's current term appointment was renewed in 2022 and would expire December of 2025. Chris Williams would be taking over the term and would need to be reappointed in December of 2025. Chris Williams resides within the city limits per the charter of the city. Mayor Larkin has met with Chris Williams and makes the recommendation before the City Council to appoint Chris Williams to the Planning Commission to replace Douglas Hall. Once again, these are the bylaws under Article 1 under officers. So in this case, the term renewal was started in 2023. Second year would be 2024. Third year would be 2025, and you renew him, Mr. Williams, since he's replacing an existing term in 2025. Financially non-legally approved as the form. It is recommended the City Council approve the Mayor's decision to appoint Chris Williams to the Planning Commission, replacing Douglas Hall.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the mayor's decision to appoint Chris Williams to the Planning Commission.
Motion by Keaton.
Second.
Second by Aubrey. All in favor say aye.
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 Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor, Honorable City Council, I have the distinct pleasure to recognize Mayor Hunter Larkin for his year's service to our community. Mayor Larkin, he is a lifelong resident of Goddard. He was appointed to the City Council on July 15th, 2019 to fill a vacant position. We want to thank him for his year's service to our community, and on behalf of the city staff, we appreciate you and the way you've led our organization over these last few years. And I want to bring up Councilman-elect Keaton Michael Fish to share a few additional words about Mayor Hunter Larkin.
It's been a while since I was standing on this side. Well, as many people know, Hunter and I have known each other for many years. And I was there the night that Hunter Larkin got appointed to the city council. And I remember walking up to Hunter and I said, "Congratulations." And he said, "Thank you. We've got work to do." I said, "All right." A couple years later, we're out putting out signs. Remember that time you ran for county commission? It didn't work. We were putting out yard signs, and Hunter gets a call at 10:30 at night. Found out he just became the mayor of Goddard. And I said, "Wow. Hunter, that's incredible." So I start Googling because I figured you had to be the youngest mayor in the history of Kansas. And I said, "Hunter, why aren't you more excited?" And he said, "Well, Keaton, we've got work to do." Then there were a couple years where Hunter and I didn't talk all that much. About a year ago, a little over a year ago, I decided it was time for me to put my money where my mouth was and try to join them and show Hunter Larkin what a true city councilman looks like. So I get a call a couple days after putting my name in the hat from Hunter Larkin. We hadn't talked in a few years. He said, "Keaton, I saw that you're going to take your shot here." And I said, "Yeah, I think I could do pretty good for this city." He said, "All right, well, it's not going to be easy because we've got work to do." And a couple weeks later, through a meeting that I'm sure nobody remembers at all, I got appointed. And we walked out into that hallway, and I expected something of a "Congrats, Keaton, you did it." And instead I got, "Well, Keaton, we've got work to do." Hunter works very hard. He always has. He's always taken this job very seriously. And personally, I feel like he hasn't always gotten the credit he deserved for what he's done for this city. So in the next few years, when people are sitting down at sit-down restaurants that they've begged for, when we have developments opening of wonderful new houses, and when Goddard is the thriving community that Hunter always knew it could be, but Aubrey, Brent, Keaton, Krista, and George are the ones smiling in the picture, just know that Hunter Larkin was a big part of that progress, and he deserves the recognition for it. I appreciate you. I'm proud of what you've done for this city. I know that you've worked very hard for this city. So congratulations. We've got a plaque. We're going to take a picture. Hunter, here's to the crazy ones.
Thank you, everybody, and thank you, Keaton. That means a lot. Okay, next agenda item. Item F, consent agenda. Have you guys taken a look at the accounts payable and consent agenda minutes?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion by Keaton.
Second.
Second by Aubrey. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Item G1.
What's that? Still working.
All right, we're going to complete the, we're going to complete the public hearing for the respread for Cloverleaf and Elk Ridge. I cover this again. We had due to the complexity of the issuance of the 2022-1 GEO bonds, we are respreading the specials across those lots for Elk Ridge and Cloverleaf. On November 6th, we presented the possibility of paying down the first-year specials, paying down the difference between the original first-year specials and the new first-year specials, but the county was able to reissue those tax bills, so we didn't need to do that. On November 20th, we set the public hearing, which opened on December 4th, and now we're going to complete that process. We're considering an ordinance approving the assessment of amending ordinance 906, approving all the necessary documents for amending the special assessment applied to Cloverleaf and Elk Ridge. There'll be a small cost of publication. The documents have been drafted by City Bond Counsel Kevin Cowan and are based on assessment costs identified by city staff and our financial advisor, Brett Schroeder. Recommend the City Council continue the public hearing, allowing the receiving written or oral objections to the levying of special assessments, limit the comments to 3 minutes per property owner, and then close the public hearing after that. So, public hearing's already closed.
Okay. Do we have any questions? None?
Is there anyone here that wants to speak?
Is there anybody here that would like to speak? None?
My name is Steve Farmer. I own several properties in Cloverleaf. This is the first I got the letter in the mail. So I'm really just curious what this is about and what it is we're spreading and why.
Micah, would you like to be more articulate on this?
I think Matt wants to be more articulate.
Matt?
So the action we're taking tonight is the amount of specials that was originally spread for all the properties was too high, and so we're going back to lower that amount of those specials. And this is for the infrastructure improvements, so the streets, water and sewer lines, and any paving and grading that was done for those developments.
So you're saying it's going down?
It's going to, yes, the amount that was originally assessed was too high, so this action will lower that amount.
Well, I got a letter, actually, I'm sorry, name's Gary West, I also live in Cloverleaf. And I got this information that it will be going up, I got an amount due, and the amount due,
Can I see that? I'm sorry.
there's several of us in that same area. That's getting me better. Just getting us off guard.
So, what happened was I get the call from the developer saying that it was going to go up to 186 or something like that a month, and that was the wrong number. So we then sit together, we figure out that there was an accounting error. We talked about this a few meetings ago, and we respread the specials. So that's what we're finishing, and we're respreading it to where it should be at the appropriate, a lesser number. So I'm trying to look here. When did you get this bill?
I got this probably in the last week.
Within the last week. Okay. We need to make sure that this is the current, because I know that the county sent out a few bills, and then the county, I talked to Brandy Bailey and the county clerk, Kelly Arnold, and they were going to send out new ones for the people who got the faulty tax bills. So we need to make sure that this isn't the wrong bill.
This may also apply to my neighbor. He's got
It's the correct one?
This is lower than the original assessments we received.
Okay, so, you're saying,
Yeah, that's one of the tax bills.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
First half.
staff would suggest that we could get with this gentleman
Yeah,
tomorrow morning.
can
and
you get us
report
all
their
your
bill.
information, and then we'll have Micah and everybody get a hold and try to straighten this out for you, because trying to do it right here is probably
Yeah.
not the right way to doing it.
Yeah,
But
Give
we're,
us your number on that notepad. We'll call you first thing in the morning, and we'll work with you to make sure that it's correct.
Okay. It's correct. We had several people come in today with this, so it's just, this is, if you look at the previous notice you were adopting in the county, this one is lower than that. It's not by much, it's a small amount that they're reducing it by, but these specials that were assessed are due on all properties in those developments. So,
yeah, it's just a shock. I would get it within a couple of weeks. This first notice, maybe this month, that's most on these assessments, and all of a sudden they do within a couple of weeks.
yeah, and that's
You know,
that
is just like,
unfortunately, I hate to pass the buck, but that was the county's actually kind of fault on how late those got out. Even the county treasurer and clerk told me, yeah, all right, we've been backlogged and everything. We haven't gotten those out. So, because all the county tax bills come from the county, Sedgwick County's
Right.
office. And so, but we do want to make sure it's correct for you, though. So if you'll give us your information and contact and address and everything, our guys will get a hold of you and make sure everything's correct. And same for you, man, back there. If you're, is yours from the county?
Yeah, put your phone number and name on that notepad there.
Oh, what's this,
It's
Matt?
the same thing.
Same thing.
Yeah, just didn't have to stay with it.
What's the difference here? Is this the revision that's in the lower? That's all that came out.
I'm losing the page. Or we
Hang on up there.
I wondered if I was missing it.
Yeah. that's-
Did this come from the county?
City of Ottawa.
Oh, City of Ottawa, okay.
This is a public notice that went.
Oh, this is the notice. Okay, this is the tax bill.
So is
Okay.
this the current, and that's gonna be the new, because there's no case.
Again, I can't tell.
This was in line.
Write your names down on our sheet.
We'll get all your guys' information and then get back to you.
The pink one, we got each half page. Because his neighbors would compare pages.
Yes.
Since my neighbor here and I both own the same type of properties, these are the twin homes.
Right.
The county's error has been that their taxation is all on one side
Yeah,
and not on the other.
This action is also correcting that as well.
Correct, yeah, so that's where you might get some heartburn from some of the homeowners.
Okay.
Because it looks like one side's paying all the specials
Okay.
and all the generals, and the other
Yeah.
side's hardly paying
Yeah.
$30 or something.
Yeah, there was a screw up on our part, and then there was a screw up on the county part, and then,
Those lot splits happened after the original specials were spread. So again, in addition to correcting the total amount of assessments due, this is also going to correct those. So those lot splits are being addressed with this respread.
Yeah, I called the county myself and.
Okay.
Different billings set out, but they were still wrong.
okay. We need to make sure we get that fixed. Okay. All right. Do we have all your guys' information? Don't leave before we get your information, because we want to make sure we get everything corrected for you. Okay?
Anyone else wants to speak?
I just have the same questions. I have my bills as far as the taxes go, and then the notice that was sent out.
Right.
But it's not even labeled
Right,
like.
right. We're,
So,
I'm not even sure what happened with that. We'll figure it out. But we are, your name and information here.
Yeah. For the record, it would be helpful if, when you send out a public notice, if you send out, instead of just lot and block 9, or block A, lot 9,
the general public.
You guys don't know the lot
We
and
have no
block.
idea.
You would rather addresses, right?
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
The common address would be much more
Yeah.
helpful for us to be able
Yeah.
to determine.
You're not used to the development side of
No,
things,
sir.
right?
No, sir.
Okay. Is there any more commentary or any questions, concerns?
Is this something that's going to remain open until we have our questions answered?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
Is this something that's going to remain open until we have our questions answered? Like, this isn't going to be closed and voted on?
Well, we need to respread it to correct the action for you, because actually it wasn't correct, and now we need to lower them for you guys. So we actually need to make sure it is lowered appropriately, so we need to finish the action. Does the council have any questions?
No, we've been doing this one for a few weeks.
Yeah. Okay. Do I have a motion to waive the reading?
Make a motion to public hearing.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm sorry, we need to close the public hearing. Okay, so I close the public hearing, and do I have a motion to waive the reading?
Make a motion to waive the reading.
Motion by Aubrey,
Second.
second by Keaton. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. I have a motion to adopt the ordinance.
Make a motion to adopt the ordinance.
Motion by Keaton,
Second.
second by Aubrey. Roll call.
Councilmember Fish,
Yes.
Mayor Larkin,
Yes.
Councilmember Collins,
Yes.
and that will be ordinance number 945.
Okay. Make sure we leave before we get all your guys' information, okay? Same with you, ma'am, okay?
Honorable Mayor and City Council. Wait, Sarah, jump back to the slides. That's how we start things. Thank you. This is item H.0, software purchase for Placer AI. So city growth demands for new retail and restaurants have been in the forefront of many of the conversations occurring on social media and public event spaces. Thank you. Retail and restaurants have their own selective process for navigating the many requests from municipalities of all sizes, and as such, leveraging the modern software is essential for generating interest in the city. The city is hoping to acquire a license to use a software called Placer AI that tracks and aggregates data to determine feasibility of businesses in travel and destination locations of potential customers. The software tracks mobile data, analyzes patterns that can be used to solicit the attention of businesses that may be looking to place a new store location. Using this data will help the city of Goddard stay in the front of businesses and discussions about the placement and retention of future and current businesses. So what we're hoping to do is, with all the conversation evolving around commercial development and growth and restaurants, we're hoping to continue to be in the forefront with businesses and try to show them with the growth and demand that the city of Goddard is experiencing, that this would be a good place to invest some money. And so the new city administrator, Craig Crossett, and myself have been meeting with a lot of businesses and potential tenants, and we're going to hope to continue to leverage our current software and potentially this software as well, if the city council allows us to purchase it, to continue to bring in more businesses. And so City Council is considering approving an agreement with Placer Labs, which is one of those Placer AI, for purchasing software for 1 year. The cost up front will be $12,000. It's renewed each year. You can cancel any year with no requirement for renewal. It auto-renews, though, if we don't tell them we don't want to, so that's just something to take into account. And I will say that we are going to jump into a Zoom presentation by Placer Labs now. And so I'll go ahead and call our agent. And Sarah's going to go to the Zoom. And to avoid reverb, any questions you guys might have, just direct it my way. We'll just talk to them directly. Hey, Chris, you ready to roll? All right, let's begin.
Okay, hopefully everybody can hear me all right. This is Chris at Placer. Thanks for your time today. I'm going to share my screen. We'll get going. Micah, maybe if you want to mute your phone, I'm getting feedback that way too. So, thanks. Great. So I'll start us off today just with a little background and intro to Placer, kind of who we are and how we get our data. Just spend a couple of minutes here on some slides, and then we've got a few things pulled up to walk you through today for locations in Goddard. So Placer, we are location analytics software, so we leverage mobile location data to provide what we call market intelligence for any physical place in the country. So we do that by harnessing data from millions of mobile devices. We then anonymously aggregate that data to learn about any place. So a place can be anything we want to draw geofence around. If the city as a whole, individual restaurants, retailers, shopping centers, downtown area, parks, etc. And once we draw a geofence, we can tell you, of course, how many people visited a place, but also where they live, work, and where else they like to go. We've been around for over 6 years now, and our customer base has grown to 3,300 in total strong. We work with a range of industries, retailers, and commercial real estate were some of our earlier customers, but our civic customer base, which includes municipalities, downtown districts, DMOs, counties, etc., is now our biggest, over 900. Of those folks on board with us today, a lot of in Kansas as well, like the cities of Hutchinson, Kingman, Emporia, Main Street, and the city of Pittsburgh, just to name a handful. So how we get our data at Square One is through mobile app partnerships. We have a few of these with everyday commercial mobile apps, think shopping, weather, lifestyle, travel, and we put a piece of code into these apps so that when a user downloads them and collects and opts into location services sharing 24/7, we collect location data from those devices. So in total, we have a panel of about 25 million devices in the country. We then use that panel with our algorithm to make estimations. And crucially here, we're a privacy by design company. So of all of those millions of phones, all we get is location data. We don't collect device IDs or any personally identifiable information. There's no way to ever figure out the individual user of the device that came to any place and sent any ads. We've just never been in that business, so we don't ever plan to be going forward. And on the screen are some of the main ways in Civic that we have found success with our cities. We'll focus on a few of these today, but we sell Placer on an unlimited fashion, so every department, any employee of the city can have their own login. So jumping over to the Placer dashboard here, this page is Explorer. And Placer, by the way, is a web-based software, very easy email, password, login here. You can come in 24/7, and then we also have what's called customer success, which is support from our side for training and projects and any questions you may have to make sure you get the most out of the data. Explorer is how I search for points of interest to pull up data on. These are geofences like McDonald's or the park or Walmart, etc. Adding new geofences to Placer is very easy. You can draw them on your own. You can ask our team to add them right here, and those are unlimited. You're also not limited as well to looking at anything just in Goddard. You can compare to any locations around the country. As we'll start here with your Walmart, that's in blue, and then we also have pulled in the Walmart to the north in Wichita as well. So we'll compare these 2 points of interest as to start. Date range-wise, we have last 12 months for our default, but you can look at any time frame going back all the way to January of 17. And most recently, we have data for Friday, the 15th of this month. Metrics is just how many people came, how many times. So I'll walk through a couple of definitions to start us off. This is visitors here is going to refer to the amount of unique individuals that we estimate came to these Walmarts in the last 12 months. So we have about 166,000 for Goddard Walmart. Visits up top is the total amount of times we estimate the unique visitors came, repeats included. So if I went to this Walmart 5 times in 12 months, that would be 5 visits and 1 visitor. Now to get to those estimates, we use panel visits at the bottom, so that refers to the 25 million device sample I mentioned at the start of the call. In this case, we saw over 69,000 visits come from real devices. They downloaded a Placer Partner app, opted into location services, and then they went into, zoom in here for you, that blue geofence for the Walmart and stayed for at least 7 minutes. So that's how we count a sample visit, and we take that sample with our algorithm to make estimations. All of our data has been tested very extensively for accuracy by retailers and restaurants themselves. Walmart's a customer of ours in addition to Target and Lowe's and Whole Foods and Best Buy and Publix and Raising Cane's and Shake Shack. They put our data here over a certain amount of time up against sales, and we find 90+% correlations. This trend chart shows us daily visitation to the Walmarts over this last 12 or so months time frame. Obviously, we always see some big spikes for Black Friday shopping and dips on Christmas and Thanksgiving. In the market landscape, we can look at a couple of things. Zoom out a little bit. This heat map is showing us all the home locations of anybody that's come to your Walmart in this last 12 months. So red areas, we're seeing a lot of people visit from those red areas. Blue lower amounts, we get this data just by looking at the behavior of devices over time. Where they come to rest overnight consistently for a 2-month period is what we count as the home location. So you can see here the market that your Walmart serves, and then we also have our properties layer, which is just going to show you similar superstores in that category, other locations in the region, and how they're performing. We also have a ranking feature where we can stack up any individual retailer or restaurant by visitation against its chain. And this is showing for the state rank. So yours, therefore, actually that's Wichita, but I can zoom in a little bit as well. We'll be over here in the ranking tab. There we go. So Goddard, we're ranked 48th of 60 in the state, Wichita 10th of 60, so you can stack those up by performance. We can also rank shopping centers against other similar shopping centers as well. So all this data kind of used to make the case for, bringing in and recruiting other retailers and restaurants. They always want to see kind of what those traffic drivers look like in the markets that they serve and where they're pulling people in from. This area analysis tab here shows us vehicle volume. So we have a lot of partners that we've brought into Placer. This is from INRIX. This is GPS data from cars. So you can click on any road, street segment, highway. You get your average amount of cars per day. It's 2022 data. You can go back to 19 as well, and you can get hourly and daily averages as well as directional here. This piece of data used a lot in those kinds of recruitment conversations as well, just to help a potential new business understand what that level of traffic volume would be on any road where they're considering opening up a location. And then our void analysis tool is another really heavily used feature within that recruitment conversation as well. You can run that on any property, whether an individual tenant location like this Walmart or a shopping center or even a piece of dirt if there's nothing built yet. But what this does filters through a list of thousands of chains. You can filter through that list based on the criteria in question. If we have only a certain amount of square footage available for a property, if we're looking for specific kinds of tenants, and that Mike had mentioned we're looking for some restaurants these days, so I can filter to only show restaurant chains. A number of other filters like expansion rates. This button will only show me chains that already have locations in Kansas. But you set your filters there on the left, and then you'll get a list back of potential good fit chains for a location. They're ranked out by relative fit score. You can click into any of these to see more detail on what goes into that score, as well as our match analysis, which is easily exportable, as is all Placer data out of the dashboard. We certainly encourage that to share those with team members internally and for marketing and for conversations like this with a potential restaurant. This will show how good of a fit Billy Sims BBQ would be for that location right there by Walmart. We'll compare the customers that come to Walmart and their demographics to the Billy Sims BBQ demographics here. Another piece of the fit score is cannibalization. So we will map out existing locations for the given chain you're trying to recruit in that 50-mile radius. Those 3 for Billy's are in blue. And in green is their trade areas, so all the home locations of those customers that go to those existing Billy's. In blue is the Walmart trade area, and we'll show how much that overlaps, right? Because a potential new tenant like Billy's was just gonna be concerned with, if we're gonna open up another location, we're gonna steal business from our existing ones already in the area. Lastly, co-tenancy will tell you how many locations near this property in question in the half-mile radius are typically located near Billy Sims and other areas in the country where they have those locations. So that's our void analysis tool, just a couple quick hits on some frequently used features in recruiting new businesses to your city, and I'll hop over here to look at another tab for our City of Goddard geofence. So we have that drawn there in blue. I know Mike mentioned that may be a little bit off. So with points of interest, we're not the source of truth. You can always ask us to change those around. You can add as many of those as you'd like on an unlimited basis. What I've done here, though, is filter for different audience types. So with the Walmarts, we were just looking at visitors to those Walmarts. We can also look at employees and residents for any point of interest, and that's what I've done here for the city, is just filter for residents. So now We're only looking at devices that have been in that city geofence overnight consistently for that 2-month period. And if I go to our visitor journey tab, we have favorite chains and places, which shows us in favorite chains, brand affinity, or our residents. So it tells us in the last 12 months of all of our residents, we've had 500,000 folks go to a Walmart. This could be any Walmart, yours or Wichita, etc. You can filter that by category as well, see what the favorite dining brands are. And you can also look at specific places. So now if I go to dining here, I'll see that we've had 100,000 visits from our residents go to Texas Roadhouse over that last 12-month period. This is the specific one on Kellogg Drive in Wichita. A lot have gone to the other one on Greenwich Road in Wichita as well. So this is kind of a retail restaurant leakage where our cities will use this to understand what they're missing within the city, restaurants, retailers, gyms, grocers, etc. Where our citizens having to leave to go elsewhere to shop or dine or do whatever, and identifying those chains that we should try to bring into the city to help our residents. And then lastly, I'll flip over to this tab where we've drawn a geofence kind of around the Main Street area. Event analysis and marketing those events is another great use case for Placer data. So right now for this area, we're just looking at the last 12 months, and as you can see, there's the big spike on the 7th for the Fall Festival, so I'll actually just go into our date range here and grab that day specifically, which will now give you data for only folks that have come to the area for that event on that day. At just shy of 10,000 visits for the event on that day, and now if I go to that same trade area map, which we saw the only locations for Walmart customers. In this case now, we can see where anybody came from to visit the Goddard Fall Festival on that day, specifically October 7th. Down here in Visitors by Origin, we can quantify that event visitation as well. As we probably expect, about a fourth of those folks that came to the event were local Goddard residents. We saw a good amount from Wichita as well. It'll rank all of these zip codes out for you on the right. And customers use this data frequently for marketing for next year's event. They want to understand where they best should spend their advertising dollars instead of sending a lot of ads to large areas, which can be costly. They'll look back at last year and build a more targeted approach to only a few zip codes, Facebook, digital, Instagram, etc. And then 3 to 4 days later after the event, the data will be in place there. They'll come in and say, hopefully we saw an uplift in visitation versus a previous year from zip codes where we spent advertising dollars. And then lastly, with our event analysis too, and visitor journey, we have prior and post data, which will tell us in the middle is our event, and then on the left is where people came from immediately prior to visiting the event, and on the right is where they went immediately after. You can flip through a number of these pages here, which helps you quantify the economic impact of events for local businesses and the community. Also used to help convince them to sponsor next year's event by proving to them that we've driven business to these restaurants or these retailers around the event in previous years. Well, I'll pause there. Mike, I wanted to be conscious of time, and I have about 10 or so minutes here. Happy to answer any questions from folks to use the last few minutes.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Can I chime in now? So I know that was like a lot of information all thrown at you at one time, a lot to digest. But in my little pea brain,
So were there any questions or anything else? Okay, sure.
In my little pea brain, we have to figure out how are we going to market Goddard. And we, our city administrator, Craig and Micah, are doing a very, very good job at trying to reach out to new restaurant chains, businesses, not even just restaurants, but retail centers like TJ Maxx and different things like that. And how are we going to grow the services that are going to help Goddard? And this type of information, to me, is going to sell our commercial growth. It's $12,000 to get this information. We know what the people of Goddard and people in the surrounding areas of Goddard what they want, what they like, and we know who we need to market towards. One of the biggest things in the commercial development industry, especially here for Goddard, because I keep on hounding rooftops, right? Well, we have a lot of traffic going through Goddard that isn't just being taken off of the streets. And we're able to now quantify how many people are actually coming through Goddard, and we're actually putting numbers on it, which I think is huge when it comes to the sales pitch when Craig and Micah are going to chains and big brokers on saying, hey, I know we don't have the rooftops in a 3-mile radius, but look at the numbers that we have visiting Walmarts. And these same people, they go to Texas Roadhouse typically 3 times a week or whatever. We need a chain like this. And that information right there is going to help these big firms make a decision on if they're going to come to Goddard or not. So that is huge. And $12,000 for a little software system might seem expensive, but if we were to just get one Dairy Queen-like style place again, the sales tax revenue would pay for that, but then that's just the sales tax revenue. That's not the property taxes that we're going to get off the building. So it will pay for itself tenfold. So I don't know if the council has any questions.
Now, this is, we've looked at this data a little bit over the summer, and I was able to kind of see, we used it looking at one of the Main Street markets. And, you know, I've said many times, it drives me nuts in the summers to watch thousands of people come for a baseball tournament and then hop on Kellogg and leave. So we've got to do something about it, and this can show us exactly where they're headed to. You know, between your son plays a game at noon and then plays again at 4, where are those people going? Exactly, where are they going? And then let's bring something that can compete with that right here and don't let them leave our town. So it's time for us to be more than just a highway town.
Yep. Aubrey, got anything?
I agree. I like the functionality of it.
Well, I don't have any more questions for the gentleman on Zoom.
You did good. You said you did good. You guys don't have any other questions? We'll let them go.
Okay.
2 hours behind us. I guess we can go ahead and take off. All right.
He's just getting off of work.
Talk to you tomorrow. All right. Thank you, guys.
Wow.
Let's see if we can get back. Perfect. Hit back and forth so if I can jump in. So that always happens. Can you get forward, Sarah? Maybe, maybe not. Forward again. One more. There. It is recommended the City Council approve the purchase of Placer AI, allowing city staff to renew the contract annually if they determine it is deemed prudent to the development of the city. So basically it's an auto renew, so they'll just renew it automatically unless we tell them not to. So if we feel like we're using it enough, then we'll just simply ask, instead of bringing it back to the City Council every year to renew it, that if we deem it acceptable, we'll just simply auto renew it if you think that's appropriate. And if we decide that it's not, if we're not using it enough, we'll just simply cancel the agreement.
So if we buy this, or if we agree to this tonight, when will we be able to start using the software?
Well, I imagine we'll be able to use it right away. We have a contract that's an agenda item under H.0. If we sign that and send it over to them, they'll ratify it and send us back a signed copy of it as well. And then they'll basically create us a license, then we'll jump into it. It's web-based, so it's automatically online. And
Perfect.
We'll just have to create a login and jump in.
So who's the users for this?
Me.
You?
Yep.
Or is there a training you go through for it, or what?
Yeah, it's called being a millennial.
You see the potential using some of this data for the chamber?
Yeah, so anybody who reaches out, chamber, anybody contractors, anybody who's partnering with the city for this data, then they can definitely just reach out to me, and I will be able to extrapolate the data out for them and just give it to them directly.
That's the whole point, is so we can share this information.
Absolutely, it'd be the dissemination
You're
of
not going to be
information.
stingy with it?
No, absolutely. We would disseminate the information as much as possible, especially with partners like the chamber, and that way it'll allow us to just get that information out there as much as possible to try to attract more business and more interest in the city. Definitely that way. There is obviously the option to, if we paid more, we could add more licenses for individuals, but we feel like since this would be a trial period for this first year, we want to start with the $12,000. If in the future the council members decide that we want to issue licenses to third parties that are outside the city, that could be something to be considered.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Can you jot down and we look like 6 months from now and just see how it's going in 6 months? Check in a little bit more regular than
We'll make a calendar
once a year.
invite. And
Perfect.
probably, we might start integrating this into some of the agenda items if it becomes appropriate.
Be awesome.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, that traffic data, there's just so many different things we can do with it. But
For
yes,
sure.
we'll
For
do
sure.
that.
You
Yeah.
might not put all of that information already. You might.
Specific cars
You
in
might
particular.
start losing
Yeah.
people, but, okay.
Perfect.
Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the purchase of Placer AI, allowing city staff to renew the contract annually if they determine it is deemed prudent to the development of the city.
Motion by Keaton,
Second.
second by Aubrey. All in favor say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Thank you very much. I can't click, so it's going to have to be Sarah. Maybe. Thank you. This is H1, the IRB issuance for Rusted Bean. Next slide. On June 5th, 2023, the City Council discussed the possibility of issuing industrial revenue bonds for the Rusted Bean Coffee Shop. The issuance comes with an abatement of taxes and payment in lieu of taxes, which is a pilot for the property in question for a maximum of 10 years. The application was received and the public hearing was set for September 5th, 2023. After the conclusion of the public hearing, the City Council agreed to the abatement and pilot for 5 years at a 20% modification per year to be expired by year 6. Since Rusted Bean is completed and open for business, to avoid ad valorem taxes to the first year in 2024, the City needs to adopt the necessary resolutions and documents to allow the abatement to take effect for 2024. City Council is considering adopting all necessary documents drafted by the bond attorney and approved by the financial advisor. The pilot structure per year is 100% for 2024, 80% for 2025, 60%, 40%, 20%, and then by year 6 it will be 0% for full ad valorem. Maximum 10 years for the IRB per statute. Rusted Bean has received a certificate of occupancy and ad valorem will begin after assessment for 2024. There's a small cost of publication. It's approved as form. All documents are drafted by bond counsel Kevin Cowan and Gilmore and Bell and received by financial advisor Brett Schover to Stiefel Nichols. So it is recommended City Council both waive the reading of the ordinance and approve the ordinance for the issuance of industrial revenue bonds for Rusted Bean Coffee Shop, but we also need to ask them to open a public hearing, I believe, just to make sure that we meet all statutory requirements for publications. So at this point, we would ask the mayor to open up a public hearing for any comments and questions that might be received.
Okay, I'll open it for a public hearing. Is there anybody that would like to speak? Going once, going twice. Hey, there we are.
Well, I have a question about if you're going to abate the taxes on.
Come on up. Did you first ask me?
No, Steve Farmer. Yeah. And I'm all for the abatement for commercial growth. The question is, are you going to have any kind of recapture should the business agree or decide to get out of business 3 years from now and you've given them X dollars a break?
That's a great question. That was one of the reasons why I wanted to give this to the Rusted Bean, is because we don't want a business in the first several years of starting a business, especially a business like Rusted Bean. It's very tough. And I would rather take the risk on abating. It doesn't cost us any money. We're abating and trying to ensure that they're as most successful as possible, because we don't want to have businesses with empty, because here in 5 years they're gone. And so that's a great question, and the answer that I have is probably no, because if they're not there, it's because they went broke, right? Is that the simplest answer, sir? Yeah. I mean, so that's how we're trying to put our best foot forward and trying to help businesses that want to invest here in Goddard. So it's not something that I think we'll do forever. I think it's once we get the ball rolling. I don't think it's necessary, but we need to encourage and incentivize businesses to move to Goddard here at first.
I agree, and I support the small businesses, especially with the full forgiveness.
Yeah.
But you set a precedent.
Yep.
A dangerous precedent.
Yep, I
where
agree.
One business hears about it and the other doesn't,
Yep.
and then then
Well,
it feels like favoritism.
Right.
To
We're not
competitors.
shooting any business down. Every business is welcome. one business that didn't offer, that's offering the same type of product at Starbucks, they didn't offer for they didn't ask for anything. And
They don't need it.
we didn't give it because they didn't ask. So you got to start with the asking process first.
Right.
So,
Okay, I was just curious
Perfect.
if there was any recapture on that at all.
yeah.
So,
Perfect. Thank you, sir. Going once, going twice. Sold. Okay, I'll close the public hearing. Need a motion?
Make a motion to waive the reading of the ordinance.
Motion by Keaton,
Second.
second by Aubrey. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Need another motion?
I make a motion to approve the ordinance for the issuance of the industrial revenue bonds for the Rest of Bean Coffee Shop.
Motion by Aubrey,
Second.
second by Keaton. Roll call.
Councilmember Fish,
Yes.
Mayor Larkin,
Yes.
Councilmember Collins,
Yes.
ordinance 946.
946. Thank you very much. Are we good, Kevin, for all bond statutory requirements? Thank you very much. This is item H.2. This is the Arbor Creek South annexation. Maybe click. Is that working? So the city has been working with Marvin Schallenberg of Schallenberg Development Company for consideration of a new single-family detached residence south of Arbor Creek. The developer is proposing around 235 lots on 78 plus acres. Development will be comprised of around 73 lots with a dimension of 75 by 100 and 162 lots with a dimension of 60 by 120. Once annexed, the default zoning is R1 single-family detached, which allows at a minimum 60 by 100 lots. The developer would like to place around 235 single-family detached homes in this development at 2 different price points to reflect market changes. City Council is considering approving an ordinance annexing certain property in the corporate city limits. It's 78.472 acres, 3,418,258 square feet. It's south of Arbor Creek Development off 183rd, north of 31st. It's currently unplatted, so they're going to have to go through platting per the statutes. And the defaults are one single-family residential. It's all single-family detached housing is being proposed. The authority given to the city is under KSA 12520A7. That's the property in question. This is Arbor Creek. This is 183rd. This is 31st. This is Pawnee / 23rd right over here. Financially, be a small publication of the fee for the ordinance is approved as a form. Annexation ordinance was approved by Robert Corcunola Morris Lang. It is recommended City Council waive the reading of the ordinance with a voice and then approve the ordinance annexing certain land into the corporate city limits with a voice plus a roll call.
Micah, can you go back to the picture?
I can, hopefully. That's me. There it goes.
I want to make a comment to current council members and future council members to make sure that of course we want to annex this. There's no doubt we want more Arbor Creek, but the city paid for that lift station, and this 80 and the 80 to the south is serviced by that lift station, and we need to make sure that, because we're not charging the fee structure that we did, because that fee, they're on their own deal, and so that 80 right there needs to pay its fair share of that lift station per the cost of that lift station, the 1.3. So don't forget that, because it might be forgotten in the abyss. So, okay.
It is recommended, once again, City Council waive the reading of the ordinance and then approve the ordinance annexing certain land into the corporate city limits. At this point, feel free to ask any questions about the development. Right now, all he's proposing is single family. When we annex, by default, it's R1. He's not requesting a rezoning, so it's all going to be single family detached. 60 by 100, as mentioned, is the smallest lot size possible at an R1.
I got no problem with annexing.
Yep.
Motion?
Make a motion, waive reading.
Motion by Aubrey,
Second.
second by Keaton. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the ordinance annexing certain land into the corporate city limits.
Motion by Keaton,
Second.
second by Aubrey. Roll call.
Councilmember Fish,
Yes.
Mayor Larkin,
Yes.
Councilmember Collins,
Yes.
ordinance number 947.
947. Thank you very much. This is item H.3. This is Goddard City Center final plat. So Bachman Company has submitted a final plat on behalf of the developer, Ben Healy. This plat is for the Goddard City Center, which is located south of US 54 and east of 183rd across from the Walmart. Property is part of a larger tract of land that was zoned for a planned unit development. Development is proposed to have commercial and residential development on the property. The developer would like to plat the northern portion for commercial first in preparation to sell more commercial lots. The residential plat for the southern portion will come later as it builds out. Planning Commission approved the final plat December 11, 2023, unanimously 6-0. If approved, as anticipated that the Mylar and the petitions for improvements will come in January. City Council is considering approving the Goddard City Center final plat. Number of lots are 4. Zoning is planned unit development. Land use is future commercial. Lot 1A is around 40,000 square feet. Lot 2A is around 103,000. Lot 3A is 55. Lot 1B is 249. Gross acreage is around 10.30 aggregate lot acres. Square feet is about 449,000. And there's the plat. Definitely looks better on your tablets and laptops. You can zoom in. You'll notice the big reserve over here is for detention. This development is in a FEMA floodplain, so they have to detain a lot of water. Financially and non-legally approved as a form. It is recommended City Council approve the final plat for the Goddard City Center addition. We do have Thomas Joyce of Bothman here representing the developer. If you do have any questions, feel free to ask them at this time.
During the planning commission meeting, it was approved contingent on some drainage.
Yes.
Situation with the drainage. What's the update on that?
Yes, so Harlan Foraker, the city engineer, is over here if you want to direct that question towards him, or Thomas Joyce is somewhere in the background.
Whoever wants to take it. I just want to make sure it was taken care of.
So he had the final say, so I'll take it out to him first.
I met with Baughman, went over to their office, and they walked through the utility layouts and the drainage plan for both of them and the incorporation of the detention in the project.
Sure.
So I'm satisfied with the
Okay,
plan.
for both this and the next item?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just wanted to make sure.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the final plat for the Goddard City Center addition.
Motion by Keaton,
Second.
second by Aubrey. All in favor say aye.
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 Thank you very much. This is item H.4, Goddard City Center, second edition final plat. So once again, Baughman Company has submitted a final plat on behalf of the developer, Ben Healy. This plat is for the Goddard City Center second edition, which is located south of US 54 and east of 183rd across from the Murphy's gas station. Property consists of 2 tracts of land that were annexed at different times and rezoned at different times. The preponderance of the land was annexed by the City Council on February 6th of 2023. It was then finalized to be rezoned to C2 General Business District by April 17th of 2023 with rezoning case number zone-23-1. Another portion of the platted property contained in the former House of Blues was annexed on August 7th of 2023 and was finalized for rezoning to C2 General Business District on August 21st of 2023. The preliminary plat was approved by the Planning Commission on October 9th of 2023, and the Planning Commission approved the Goddard City Center second edition final plat December 11th of 2023. City Council is considering approving the final plat for the Goddard City Center second edition. The number of lots are 5. Zoning is C2 General Business District. Land use is future commercial. The gross acreage is 10.6. Square feet is 461,581. Connects to the Goddard City Center development to the south. So here's the Goddard City Center second edition. Here's the different lots. Here's the street that will run down and connect to what you just saw on the previous agenda item. At one point, they were proposing a detention pond over here as a standalone to help detain water over here, but since the developer owns this property and the property down here, they're using the detention from the development that you just saw to capture and detain water that's going to be shooting off this property over here. House of Blues was over here. That was annexed and rezoned and incorporated into the city limits. This is where the future Casey's is going to be. Financially and legally, it's approved as a form. It is recommended City Council approve the final plat for the Goddard City Center second edition. Once again, we do have Thomas Joyce of Bothman representing the developer, Harlan Foraker representing the city. You do have any questions?
Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the final plat for the Goddard City Center second edition.
Motion by Keaton,
Second.
second by Aubrey. All in favor say aye.
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 Thank you very much.
Mayor and Council, item H5 is for demolition of certain structures on the North Park property. In 2019, the city acquired 9.18 acres of property on the southwest corner of 183rd and Maple Streets with the intent of creating a public park. There are multiple features and structures on the property, including a pond, a horse stable, arena, and miscellaneous steel fencing. The horse stable and steel fencing are in a state of disrepair and do not serve any purpose in the envisioned North Park plans. Excuse me. City Council directed staff to seek demolition services for the removal of those structures. Here is a map showing the North Park property. It's Maple and 183rd Street. This is a large horse arena that's on there. This is the small stable that we're asking to demolish. This is a picture of that stable from looking at it from the east. There is the same building looking at it from the south. And that is building looking at it from the west. You can see some of the steel fencing here that is also bid to be taken out. A little bit more fencing here. Well, I'm missing several slides here. Okay. Anyway, I thought it was at least, maybe not. Okay. City staff received bids from 2 bonded and insured contractors. Both bids included the removal of the existing horse stable, including the concrete footing and floor, and the internal portions of the steel fence. The perimeter fencing will remain in place to limit access to the park during planning and construction. I am not missing slides here. I was incorrect.
Oh.
Okay. That's my next presentation. I have additional slides. So this building here is what we took bids to have that one removed, that and the concrete flooring and footing, have this fencing removed, this fencing removed. There is some of this fence along the perimeter that the police chief and I agree we would like to remain until we move further along with the park. Main reason for that is it doesn't seem as open. We try to keep hot rodders and trash dumpers and people like that out there. Got 2 bids. One was Southwest Salvage for $11,500. The other is a local contractor, Charles Presnall. He bid $10,800. Public Works recommends accepting the low bid submitted by Charles Presnall for $10,800. The cost to remove the horse stable and perimeter steel fencing on the North Park is $10,800. It would be allocated 100% to Capital Improvement Funds Parks Capital Outlay. Project number 2020-03. Any questions?
You guys want to get the North Parks ready? You got to tear all the stuff down.
The contractor spoke with him. He will start immediately after Christmas and stated he felt like he could be done by mid-January.
Presnell's a good guy. He's a local guy.
Local guy.
Yeah. Really good gentleman. So,
have we been talking to the neighbor that lives right there at all about all this happening? I know it's not their land, but it is their backyard.
Not really. We had a little bit. We have an agreement with the neighbors there for what the city is required to do based on that agreement. You know, and that's got to do with adding a fence around their property and things like that. The agreement states a faux wrought iron fence. I had contact with the neighbor about 2 months ago, and they requested a privacy fence. We're not in the process of taking bids for that yet. We've got some questions on easement access to the pond, things like that. We want to make sure that we can, before we put a fence up, that we are getting all the property, access to all the property we should have access to.
Sure.
And, you know, if we want to do a walking path around the pond or whatever, we need.
Well, that's what I was asking about, because there's that little corner of the pond that looks like it's on there. It's going to suck when our sidewalk ends on both sides.
Some of that in a subsequent agenda item.
Okay. I was just
And
curious.
we'll give them notice before Mr. Presnell.
Before there's loud machinery tearing down a building behind them.
Yes,
Mark will
definitely.
reach out to the property.
They're really gracious neighbors. They're easy to work with. They're easy to talk to. So we've never really had any issues with them.
Okay.
At one point, they were even mowing part of the park, and we asked them to stop because we were already pacing on the
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, here is the overall park property. This purple here is the private property that the house is on, and the yellow is the easement. We're still kind of looking through that to decide how we want to do that. And I know the City Administrator Craig Crossett has another item tonight to discuss that we'll discuss in part more.
Okay. With that being said,
do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the demolition of the horse stable and perimeter steel fencing at the North Park for the cost of $10,800.
Motion by Keaton.
Second.
Second by Aubrey. All in favor, say aye.
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 Council.
This next item is for the respread for Arbor Creek Phase 1 and the Arbor Creek Collector. This is essentially the same action we took for Elbridge and Cloverleaf, but for Arbor Creek, which were the other 2 projects included in that issuance. City Council is considering setting a public hearing for January 16th, 2024, and we'll have a public hearing then, similar to the one we had tonight.
Excuse me, brother. Don't be afraid of the mic. Go ahead and step up.
Anyway,
Thank you.
at that public hearing, we'll take public comment like we did tonight. It's correcting an error in the amount of special specimens to the residents of, well, I should say Arbor Creek. Supplemental proceedings you've got in your packet and are prescribed by statute. It's similar to the original special assessment process. There'll be a small cost for publication. We will send out notices to all the residents, and all the documents were approved by Bond Counsel Kevin Cowan and reviewed by myself, Brett Sjogren of Stifel Nichols, and also the engineering firm and the developer. It's recommended the City Council authorize the mayor to sign the supplemental documents for the respread agreement and set the public hearing date for January 16th, 2024. That's just a simple voice vote.
You guys got any questions? You guys have it? Good?
I think we're good. Can you go back one slide so I say the right words? Thank you, sir. Make a motion to authorize the mayor to sign the supplemental documents for the respread agreement and set the public hearing date for January 16th, 2024.
Motion by Keaton.
Second.
Second by Aubrey. All in favor say aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Oh, no, I'm good.
Honorable Mayor and City Council, I'm excited to present this agenda item to you this evening. It's in discussion about the North Park. That's what we're calling it for now until maybe a potential title change at some point, but it's sticking. The request for proposal, we're looking to get an architect in to help design and project manage the North Park project. My colleague Brooke Brandenburg, he shared some of this background information already, but really the purpose is to put out a request for proposal that you saw in your agenda packet, seeking firms interested in facilitating that process alongside city staff. This is a great starting point to get the ball rolling on this project. You could see a tentative timeline in that RFP in your agenda packet, so you kind of have an idea in your heads of how long will this process actually take. It's not super lightning quick, but the important part is that we're getting going. So we do have a couple of architectural firms that are already expressing interest in this project in our community. Here's another overhead of the property over there. My colleague Brooke had mentioned some information about easements and such. City Attorney Ryan Peck and I are having some discussion over the last couple days. Before we send out this RFP, we obviously want a firm understanding of, what property is ours and what's the easement situations and things of the like. Our initial finding is that, we have a 20-foot easement that runs along that shoreline, even in the piece of property that's not the city proper. It's a non-exclusive access to that right-of-way, meaning we'd be sharing it with that other property owner, but also the public could utilize it as well. With these architects, we want to have them complete the field work, which would be the surveying and topography. Obviously, that's going to be important for this project because we have the pond there. They'll work with staff and other community stakeholders for selection of amenities. They'll create the design development, site plan, and construction documents, prepare the cost estimates, lead the process for the permitting and approvals, manage the bid letting for the actual construction, assist us in selecting a contractor to do the construction, and manage the project until its conclusion in concert with appropriate city staff. That would include, of course, supervising, inspecting, presenting to the governing body and the public, as well as decision making. This is a potential list of amenities. It's not limited to these ideas, and there could be plenty more that we're not thinking of. Just because we have this list up here doesn't mean that's what's going in. This is just to get the mind flowing of the architects. Really what we want them to do is give us the most efficient and awesome creative use of this space as possible. We only have that 9.1 acres. The pond takes up half of it. So how can we most efficiently use that space to have the most awesome park. That's kind of the goal there. So I'm not going to go through the list. You can see on the screen. One of the other areas that we need to address as a part of this project is the role of the park board. The park board is not gathered since 2019. In fact, I put the minutes together for the last park board meeting as your assistant city administrator, so it's been about 5 years now. Looking at the city code, one of the last sentences in there that the actions of the park board should be subject to the direction of the city council, meaning that you decide what their role would be in the North Park project along with any other park-related projects. So staff has put forth a few different options that you can look through to determine what role they may or may not play in it. Because they haven't gathered in so long, our thought was that we would create an ad hoc committee for the special purpose of representing the broader community in the North Park development. It'd be a combination of city staff, a governing body member, and a citizen. I would like to see, and this will be something that we discuss more when we're putting together our governing body policy in Q1 of 2024, but rather than having citizen advisory boards such as activities committee, park board, etc., that we look at having one-off ad hoc committees for specific purposes such as the North Park project. They exist for that project and then they go away when that project is done. If another project comes up, you appoint another ad hoc committee that maybe has a specialized knowledge in that area that could help the governing body and city staff make decisions. So our recommendation is that we look at the ad hoc route. One thing I don't know if Brooke mentioned was that we are at this point keeping the existing outbuilding that's 130 by 60. We are giving the architects the option to either do something creative with that facility if something could be done with it, or to demolish it and provide a better use of that area, because again, we only have 9 acres, and so 7,800 square foot actually makes up a lot of space. So we're including a copy of the structural engineering report in the request for proposal, so they have an idea of what the condition of that facility is in. We also have, again, the pond, and there could be an opportunity to re-energize the windmill and pump that's out there. That's undetermined at this time, though. The architects are going to have to put forth some due diligence to see if that can be reused. We do fully believe that dredging and erosion control are likely necessary, so building up some dikes, taking out some silt and sediment that's filled in, putting in some riprap. A walking path would be great, a 10-foot wide walking path to connect to the 10-foot wide walking path that WAMPO's putting in partnership with the city all along Maple, so we'll have a well-connected transportation network to get to the park. So those are some different things that we are going to be looking at as a part of this project. One of the other areas that staff is going to be looking into is partnering with Kansas Department of Wildlife, Parks, and Tourism to get our pond to be a part of the Community Fisheries Assistance Program. We might actually be able to get some dollars to help with some of these upfront costs and getting that pond back full and usable. In the community I served prior, we were able to get a significant amount of capital from KDWPT for our lake. They come in and stock it. They will give you grants on an annual basis up to $30,000 or $40,000 to help put more riprap around it. We remodeled a bathhouse as a part of our grant program that we had. So I think that could be a good opportunity here to actually really utilize that space in the best way possible. So we will advertise the RFP this week, and we do need to have final legal review of it to make sure that we're not missing any important legal items in there. Some of the boilerplate stuff that we might need to get inserted before we send that out. We do feel like at this time we have a good grasp of the easement situation, so we can be pretty accurate with our communication of what's going on there with the potential bidders. We do have 2 recommendations here. We'd like you to authorize our ability to begin advertising the request for proposal, and then we'd also like you to consider our direction with the park board as it comes to the North Park development. We'd like you to select 1 member of the governing body and 1 member of the broader public. If you don't want to do that part this evening, we can take the next few weeks to consider that item further. So, but we wanted to give you the opportunity should you so choose.
Do we want to wait for the second item for the next council members to discuss that?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that'd be good.
that's a
I think
good
that'd be
idea.
good. I've got a couple members of the public in mind, but I think it'd be good to get George and Chris to. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Right after we get rid of you, we'll put you on this.
Well,
yeah,
let's
so
just do the first one.
I'll make him. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, is this going to be on our we do a little field trip?
Yes, we will go out there.
All right.
Okay.
Very
I'm gonna
good.
make a motion to authorize city staff to begin advertising the RFP for North Park Architectural and Project Management Services.
Motion by Keaton,
Second.
second by Aubrey. All in favor, say aye.
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 And then I'm gonna make a motion to, or no, we don't have to. I was gonna
We
table the
just wanna do
second, but we don't
nothing.
have to.
We'll just
We're
wait.
not gonna do anything. Cool.
Okay.
Thank you.
Council, this is something that I know a lot of people have been chomping at the bit for a while. This is authorized street project request for bid. In early 2023, the governing body directed staff to develop a plan to address 3 street projects: rehabilitation of North Frontage Road, installation of an asphalt surface on 2nd Street, and Hawkins Lane. Cost estimates for the proposed projects were developed by City Engineer Harlan Foraker, and the governing body authorized the issuance of $1.7 million in GO bonds at the June 25th, 2023 meeting. In the months since then, the governing body has chosen not to move forward with the Hawkins Lanes portion of the project, but has chosen to move forward with the North Frontage Road and 2nd Street. Initially, the proposed rehabilitation of North Kellogg Frontage Road, pavement, and curb and gutter reconstruction from 199th Street West to Barber Drive includes removal and replacement of existing pavement and curb and gutter. It also included is the removal and replacement of approximately 10 feet of existing concrete driveways. Exhibit A here shows the scope of that as far as the road. This is 199th Street, Kellogg, and then what is platted as Barber Drive, there is not a road there. This is the Vermeer building, kind of give you an idea of where it runs from. And that portion of the road would be basically a full rebuild. They're gonna rip it up and replace it, new, square the base away, new asphalt all the way along it, and approximately 10 feet of curb and gutter. Staff added the remainder of the frontage road east from Barber Drive to the newly constructed realignment as an add-on option due to the condition of the asphalt. It is separated and is cracking and would benefit from a 1.5 inch pavement milling and a 1.5 to 3 inch mill overlay from just east of Barber Drive to the connection to the concrete pavement approximately 800 foot west of the Kellogg Frontage Road reconstruction at 183rd West. That's Exhibit B. And this is Barber Drive here where it's platted, and that is this section of road here. Now that would not be a full rebuild because the base isn't as messed up. It's got some separation and some cracking on top. There are a couple soft spots that will have to be worked down to base, but that'll be basically a mill and overlay. All the work on this north frontage road, we'll do the best we can to coordinate that with the work on the ARCAT. The work proposed for 2nd Street includes paving improvements for the existing gravel surface from Main Street to 199th Street West, which includes 6 inch asphalt construction on a 5 inch reinforced crushed rock base. Drainage pipe improvements and driveway paving improvements will be done at the time. Exhibit C here, this is 2nd Street. We're all aware of, familiar with it, Main Street, 199th or Goddard Road. It is that area, gravel road there. It's a highly traveled road, lots of buses. We rebuilt it a couple years ago. It was smooth. It's hard to keep smooth because of the heavy traffic. So this is a really good candidate for paving. As mentioned, the projects will be funded through GO bond proceeds issued in 2023, Series 2023-A. The budget right now contains $1,719,700 $755.50 for street projects. I'm going to hand the council right now city engineer's cost estimate for these jobs. We don't generally provide these to the public, so that way the bidders don't know what we're expecting. So that's not. Kind of give you an idea of what we have in the bond fund right now and what the proposed or the estimated cost of doing these two projects is.
This is total build out?
That is, and Harlan, City Engineer Harlan Forker can answer questions on this better than I. He developed this estimate so he could answer, but that is my understanding total cost.
Is there an extra 5% on contingency?
Yes, yeah, we have contingency, we have at least actually 15% there, so. I must admit, I mean, this was kind of put together fairly quickly, late last week, and so we're reviewing the numbers right now as far as quantities and that sort of thing.
So we'll have money left over to...
Yeah, because we didn't do Hawkins Lane, you recall.
Right, but we can do 183rd turn lanes.
That's what I was about to ask about.
Yeah, assuming that, you know, we got to finish the RCAT first,
Right.
and if the paper moves fast enough through
Right.
our partner governmental agency,
Yeah.
then we could have the turn lanes come in right behind the RCAT next year.
Okay.
So will we be able to use the rest of those GO bonds for that? Can we put it towards it at least?
We have no restriction on how those bonds can be used, so yes. And that's been the plan, is to use those for that.
Yeah.
Now, what's the probability of this number going up, do you think, Harlan?
I wish I could tell you that probably. I think at this point it's 50-50.
Until the bids come in, we don't.
I'm hoping to get this out on the streets early in the year so that, you know, the contractors are looking for work.
Get them while they're eager.
And get on this list, get on their list early.
Right.
And we're going
I
to-
love this number. And if we go with the current contractor out there, if they're the lowest bid, will we be able to tie in pretty seamlessly between the R-Cut and North Frontage Road?
We're hoping to, and something else we're going to do in the next couple council meetings is bring the 2024 street maintenance projects, and we're going to try to lump all these together as much as we can to kind of get a good bids on them if possible.
This is perfect. That's great.
So it does leave a lot on the table, and hopefully
Yeah.
the bids come in like this, and we'll be pretty happy.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, if I could clarify one thing now. Second Street is not proposed curb and gutter. It's going to stay an open ditch road, which
Right.
is an asphalt mat.
Right.
Okay.
And then the other thing I guess I'd like to ask is if we couldn't also, while we're bidding this, get a concrete alternate for the gutters for the frontage road reconstruction, just so you would see a number for what it would take to pave that in concrete. You'll have asphalt bid.
Oh,
You'll
yeah.
also have a concrete bid.
Yes,
And then you
100%.
can
yes.
see,
That'd be
and,
nice.
and I'm not saying concrete will be cheaper, I've never seen it cheaper, but
No.
you may see the value in going with concrete for more long-term, less maintenance.
Always.
I'd like you to see that.
Always future council and current council, if you guys have the option and the extra money to do concrete, always go with concrete because long term it's much better for the city on maintenance. So yeah, definitely bring in those bids too. Okay.
So, if there are no additional questions, it is recommended the city council motion to allow staff to move forward with the release of requests for bids for the rehabilitation of the North Frontage Road and pavement improvements on 2nd Street.
One more question.
Yes, sir.
Because I just made eye contact with Russ back here. And I want to make sure, are we going to be coordinating with all the businesses as well?
Yes, we're going to coordinate with all the businesses and whatever contractor will work with them, and basically you'll have one half of the road open at all times. There will be a little bit limited, but we will have access to all the businesses.
Okay.
Yeah, I mentioned
Well-
to Brooke that I wanted to, maybe we could schedule a time, we could meet here at the city hall, make the businesses aware of it, so then we could show them what the plan is for traffic control during construction. And, hear their concerns and see if there's any way we can alleviate. I can't,
Right.
I know it's gonna be a.
Russ is definitely not going to like it. It's going to hurt, but once it's done,
But
you know.
it will be one-way traffic, and
Right.
one half of the road
Okay.
we're planning to keep open at all.
Well, and you can access, I'm looking at it right now, you can access almost anything if you take Martin's off of 199.
Yeah, it'll be.
You can go off, right, Martin, right.
So I think we just need to make sure that we're letting people know there's other ways to get to those businesses.
We will minimize the lack of access as much as
Okay.
possible.
The other
Perfect.
thing is we can put up some, what are called wayfinding signage. We can have the contractor put up
Be
some
nice.
wayfinding signage. We did that out of the project at the airport that, we put in the bid. So
Pearson's kicking ass out there. I mean, they're doing a real good job. Now, how long do we think that they'll take to do
Well,
the
that
North
job, I
Frontage
think,
Road?
goes into March or April.
180 working days, so I mean, with weather and everything, it could go till June.
I think they're gonna switch traffic over in February.
Okay. Okay. All right. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to allow staff to move forward with the release of request for bids for the rehabilitation of the North Frontage Road and pavement improvements on 2nd Street.
Motion by Keaton.
Second?
Second by Aubrey. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And then I did not add this agenda like I did last time, but we're going to do the city administrator's report as well.
On that last item, I would just add real briefly, Mr. Mayor, if we are able to get those 2024 resurfacing projects picked out and KDOT quickly approves our access management application, we'll be back in front of you at least one more time asking the same question to authorize bidding those projects together with this. So could see something in January on that, maybe early February. So. Real quick, I got a few items that I'd like to update the governing body on. The Kansas Water Projects Fund grant, staff's going to be applying for a grant through Kansas Water Office to subsidize costs for the Rural Water District Cross Connection Project. The estimated entirety of those costs is unknown at this point, but the primary expense is about a $210,000 to $230,000 pump station. That depends on whether we go for single or three-phase power. There'll be some other associated costs too. I'm working with Harlan on getting a fully baked opinion of probable cost to staff next week because the application is due December 29th. I just got it on my radar last week, so we're going to be churning and burning to get that one out. Hopefully we can get that grant because it's not going to be cheap to build that project. Fireworks codes. Just in the last few weeks since I've been here, I've had several requests to extend our sale hours, to look at a reduction in our permit fee for tent sales. Some of this motivation is coming because City of Wichita has amended their codes, so there's a little bit of concern about maybe losing some traffic. So the question I would like to ask the governing body is if you guys would have consensus for us to work with our legal team on drafting an ordinance that would amend the fireworks code. One of the other ones that might be a little bit more divisive is whether or not you would want to reduce the number of tents back to 6. I've had some comments about that too from some of the folks who've been selling fireworks here a long time. But I think maybe the easier ones to look at would be extending those hours and reducing the tent permit fee maybe to align with what the City of Wichita charges, in case we do lose some business because of the expanded regulations in the community east of us. So would you guys like us to put something on in January?
Yeah, this is something I talked to Craig about in the last couple of weeks. I had a member of our community reach out and ask about some of this, and so I would really appreciate if we could at least look at it.
Agreed. Okay.
Yep.
I'll consider that as consensus, and we'll work with Ryan on putting an ordinance together for the governing body to consider. Tuesday, January 16th. Remember, that's when our council meeting is. So, Mayor's doing their annual sewer cleaning starting this week. They're beginning in Elbridge on Monday, which is today. They will be extending to the north half of the seasons as the week progresses. My colleague Brooke, Public Works Director, he and his team have been distributing door hangers and coordinating with City Hall to address any questions or concerns. Community Development, Goddard City Center and Second Edition, those final plats were approved tonight. We expect to have those Mylars in the coming weeks. 23rd South Edition, we received the Mylar. Petition should be coming by end of year, if not first thing in 2024. Rustic Creek Phase 2, we anticipate petitions coming by end of year or early Q1 24. And then Goddard Trails in Phase 2, petitions should be coming within that same time frame. So we expect to be pushing a lot of paper before we go on Christmas break. So that's good news that our community is continuing to grow with those different residential developments. I mentioned this at the last council meeting. The 2022 audit report will be presented either January 16th or February 5th at our council meeting. We are looking at working with another auditing firm. Just because of the workload of our current firm, we really should be doing this audit maybe a month or so earlier than when it'll actually be presented to you. There's just been some delays in getting it to move forward. Next step on the North Park, finally review the RFP. We do feel like after tonight we've got a better understanding of our public use opportunity for the banks of the pond, and then if there's any RFP changes that need to be made, we received no requests from council, so we should be good to begin advertising that this week. The proposals will be due from architectural firms on February 12th, and we will put forth the recommendation to hire the winning firm at the February 19th, 2023 City Council meeting. On the 183rd Turn Lanes project, I'd mentioned that we submitted the access management application to KDOT last week. Trans Systems did submit a field services proposal. Council will consider this in January, pending review by Harlan, our city engineer. We want to make sure that it's a competitive price before we make a final determination as to whether we'll solicit additional bids. Since they're already doing the work out there and they did the preliminary design, they'd likely be the most qualified contractor for that work. We are continuing to look for additional civil engineering services. We found that some of the folks in the private sector are maybe taking some extra time off, so we haven't been able to get a seat at the table, but there's a few different firms we're looking at for some specific projects. The legal team has been working feverishly on the Rural Water District 4 cross-connection agreement. We got a draft across our desks today. It's looking good, and we've just got some edits to it that we provided back to the legal counsel. So we're hoping in February we would have this up for approval and consideration for the City Council. Of course, RWD4 would need to agree to the terms that we're giving them. So the draft MOU for the community garden has been submitted to the Lions Club. On the community center, construction crew's been working on the ceiling removal and other tasks. During the January 16th council meeting, we will recess to do a brief tour of the community center as a group to review the progress. So just one of the agenda items will literally be moved to recess to go look at the community center. We'll all walk out and go check it out and then come back in. We submitted the KDHE E-Ramp grant program application on Friday to help subsidize potential US 54 pedestrian bridge. So we're hoping that at the beginning of the year, we will get the thumbs up to submit a full application for that project. It requires no match funding, which would be great because it's a very expensive project. A couple other real quick things I didn't have in my report. I want to thank our Deputy City Clerk, Lori Devaney, for giving us her evening in Terry's absence. And I also want to thank Matt for his hard work over the last few weeks working through those respreads. That's always a sensitive topic when you're talking about our citizens' hard-earned tax dollars and the money they pay for the specials as well. And I know that he's been working hard with our bond counsel and financial advisors to get that corrected. So I appreciate the extra effort on that. That's all I have.
Thank you, Craig.
Thank you, bud.
Keaton?
Well, first of all, thank you, Craig, for another great report. We appreciate your hard work. Aubrey and Hunter, I wanted to see if it would be all right with you. Currently, our city staff get Friday and Monday off, Monday being Christmas Day, and are back in the office on Tuesday. They've had a heck of a year, and so I think it would be very well earned if they were allowed to stay home on Tuesday as well and spend a little bit of extra time with their family. So are you guys both okay with that?
I'm 100% fine.
Everybody but Chief.
There we go. Makes sense to me. So, Craig, that's obviously you get the final call on that, but
No, we will gladly accept your plans.
I love it. So yeah, y'all give your loved ones extra hugs on Tuesday, and we'll see you Wednesday. It was a good meeting. We got a lot done. So I'm looking forward to Krista and George getting up here, and we're going to keep moving forward. Hunter, it's been, I'd like to say it's been fun, but let's be honest, it hasn't. But that's all right. You know, in this last year, we've accomplished a lot more than people thought we were going to. And in January, you told them you're about to see a council move. And we did. And I'm very proud of what we've accomplished in this year. You know, it wasn't always easy. There were some times where these meetings got tense. But
I knew it wasn't.
But, you know, others in the past, when it got hard, chose to turn, chose to leave, chose to run and be cowards, and you didn't. You stood in the fight. You were the man in the arena. And I admire you for that. I respect you for that, for choosing to stay no matter what the media or no matter what Facebook was saying about you. You chose to fight for Goddard, Kansas. And so for the next 4 years, while we continue to get things done, and we're gonna keep moving, just know that your fingerprints are all over the foundation, and we know that, and that's what matters. So thank you for your service. Goddard, Kansas will be better because of Hunter Larkin.
Thank you. Thank you, buddy.
Amen to that. Yeah, you know, the leadership is a capacity to translate vision into reality, and you are skilled at that. You know, there's 3 fundamentals to leadership: is humility, clarity, and courage. And I honor you for that. You know, now we got to find somebody to put a new target on their back. But man, I respect the hell out of you, and I've really enjoyed this past year. A little bit more than I anticipated what would happen, but we're going to get through it, and we're going to continue those foundations on the next council.
Thank
So
you,
thank you
Albert.
for your service, my friend.
Thank you, Albert.
Thank you, sir.
Well, it's a bittersweet moment for me. The last few meetings I've been getting a little teary-eyed towards the end, and typically, like when you're the man in the arena, like Keaton said, you got to stay strong. And I think my parents know that typically I actually am very more of an emotional, sensitive person, but you got to be strong when you're in the arena. And this opportunity that all of the voters of Goddard have given me for the past 5 years, 4.5 years, has been the privilege of my life. It truly has. Have I gotten my butt kicked every now and then? Oh yeah, but that's part of being in the arena. I want to recognize a few people who mean so much to me. One person is my father back here. Stand up, Dad. I don't know if anybody has seen this man. He was here the first day I got on the council, and he's here on the last day I got on the council. Leave. And this man is my rock. He's everything. And I would not be here today. I would probably have quit if it wasn't for that man back there. After a few things happened, and I stuck through it, because you got to be strong. You got to be tough, even when you don't feel like it. And this next council needs to know the same thing. You guys will face adversity. You will. I know you will, because I didn't even know I was going to face it. I know you'll have a room full of people pissed off at you. But just as long as you vote with your heart and your conscience, and you know that you're doing the right thing, that's all that matters. Just as long as you can sleep well at night. I know the decisions I've made, I can sleep well at night. I really can. But we've accomplished a lot this last year, but we've accomplished quite a bit in the last 4.5 years since I've been here. We refinanced a wastewater treatment facility. Matt Lawn, we have such a great finance CFO here in the city, and I just want you all to give Matt a round of applause. Matt, you're an amazing man. You are. We are so lucky to have another person, Micah Scoggin. Me and Micah have this same type of energy when it comes to growth and development, and I just don't have the skills as Micah to speak as fast and to talk as so politically correct, I think sometimes I stray off. So, Micah, I have a tremendous amount of respect for you. I really do. Brooke plays an interesting role on my seat here on the council because Brooke was actually on the council right here in the end. And I was replacing Brooke when he was taking the seat as the Public Works Director. And Brooke, we cannot thank you. Public Works was not in the appropriate shape before you were here. And I know Craig, he was trying to do his best, but you came in and you kicked ass, man. Our guys are getting paid better. We have more staff. Our equipment's top notch now, and you have a lot to be proud of. Chief, I love you, man. I don't know if anybody knows this, but Chief's wife, Brianne, was my boss when I was a CNA at Dove Estates in high school. Does anybody know what CNAs do for a living? It's not the pleasantries of life, I can tell you that. But I had an amazing boss, and that man is married to an amazing woman, and you are an amazing person, and I know that. And Craig, we are so lucky to have you. I can't tell you how lucky we are to have you. I feel good knowing that I can leave and the city's in good hands with this amazing staff, and the people of Goddard know what they're doing because they elected two fine people to this council. And George, Krista, you are going to do a great job. You are going to do an amazing job. Keaton, I didn't leave you out. I know they voted for you, but you're still sitting here. But I just want to recognize George and Krista. You guys are amazing, and I have so much faith that you guys are going to do an awesome job, an absolutely awesome job. I can't wait to watch the meetings, and I'll still be here. Don't worry, no one's going to get rid of me. I'm not going anywhere. But I can't wait to see what you guys are accomplishing in the future. So God has blessed so many people in this room, and he's blessed me for giving all of you guys to me, and he's given me this opportunity to do this for the past 4.5 years. And I didn't go to college. I don't know if anybody knows that, but I consider this my college. This was a hell of a college experience, and I will forever cherish this the rest of my life. So thank you. Thank you all. So with that being said, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Keaton.
Second.
Second by Aubrey. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion adjourned.